Hey YouTube, welcome back. We hit a raccoon. We also hit a deer. We had the car just over 2 years now. We bought it with 216 thousand miles on it. Now it has 272, almost 273,000 miles. We didn't think we did that much damage when we hit the raccoon. And then we were driving a little bit further. You gotta remember, we live out in the middle of the country, so there's a lot of animals out here. So we hit the raccoon, screwed up the bottom of the grill, and then we proceeded to go still to the store. Because remember, we live almost 15 miles away from the store. So on the way to the store, there was a place called Deer Alley. There's a lot of deer that always get hit through there. It was kind of bad weather. Snow was going. There was a car turning into a driveway. The deer was running up alongside of us right here, and by the time that they turned into their driveway, which was coming this way, and they turned, their lights were so bright where we were, I didn't see the deer head until the deer was like right here. And then all of a sudden, I hit the paddle shifters, boom, 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 and slammed on the brakes. Well, the deer came from this side, boom, hit this front, and then slid, and we ran over his hip with this, and I was like, and it was a big thud, a big thud. And now we're just waiting for it to, the tow truck to come, because we're bringing it to the insurance. So I'll take you out front and I'll show you the damage. That is where the raccoon hit. I love them little varmints. Took off all the other skin and everything else. The deer, the hit, and did this little scuff mark right here, and this scuff mark right here. And I was like, oh, okay. So the deer hit there, right here. We didn't think we had much damage with it, besides just to get the bumper skin. We drove home and it was acting a little funny, the driving. Got home, got inside, asked the wife if we should turn it into an insurance company. Didn't want our premiums to go up or nothing like that. So we debated it. Well, a few days ago, I went out to start the car. Of course it runs, besides the exhaust. Because when we hit the deer, it must have popped the exhaust too, or I don't know what the fuck happened. It sits so low. Started to drive, go back to the store a couple days later to go get some things. I'll put it in drive real fast, see if you guys can hear it. Hear that? I'll put it in reverse. Yeah, hear that? Either the transfer case, the pumpkin, differential, or the front CV axles. Something went out. We have parts here, so obviously we blew something. I don't know what it is. Of course, I didn't drive it. Drove it home. And that's about that. But we don't know if we totaled it out, depending on how much insurance company wants to pay. Love the car. This car has been nothing but awesome. Up until the point of the stupid deer. This thing's awesome. Again, no idiot lights are on. We have a, right here, that little light. I put different set of tires on for the winter. So that's why that gauge is on right now. One of the sensors is bad on the tire pressure gauge. So when I replace the tires for this winter, that's on. But other than that, this thing is just, now she sounds like a hot rod. deer must have popped the exhaust too when we ran over it. Remember, this thing is dropped 2 inches. So the tow truck company is coming right now. Well, as you guys can see, the car is now in the tow truck and it's headed up to Hawkeye Autobody up in Mason City, Iowa. They do a fantastic job. The quality of work is just awesome. So I highly recommend Hawkeye Autobody. Ryan and his staff is just, it's a great place. But I do also want to talk about this tow company. Our insurance company, Progressive, contracted this tow company to pick up cars and everything else for them. Well, when the guy came down, friendly, cordial guy, and the first thing I told him, I said, hey, why don't you come over here, let me show you the car, let me show you exactly what happens so you can explain it to Hawkeye when it gets there. And we went through the whole car, and then he heard it running. And I said, it does have the exhaust leak on it, so it does sound kind of loud. And then I also told him about the car. It makes some crazy noises, like the front CV axle on the driver's side, because that's where the thumping was coming from. It was right underneath my feet. I straight up told the guy, this car's fucked. And I said it to him many, many times. I said, I don't know what happened to the car. The deer hit it, and it was driving a little wonky at first, like I explained to you guys. I was able to drive it up to the trailer. So he's like, okay, and he got into it. I understand that the front end of the car, I know it needs to be replaced with new bumper skin, so I wasn't really worried about it when he drug the front end up onto the trailer deck. I was like, okay. And when he drove it up, the rear end of the car also bottomed out. I even told the guy the car was lowered 2 inches. Just an honest review. If this was another place and time and I had to find a tow truck service, I wouldn't recommend these guys. I'm not going to tell you their name. I'm not going to give them any credit for anything. When I drove it up to the trailer, it was running, it was driving, it was a little thumpy, thump, 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 thump. It sounded like Thumper was stuck underneath my car. When he drove it up there, he didn't know what he was doing, it looked like, but it was running fine. And then when he threw the chains underneath it and towed it up, he didn't really place them anywhere, he just threw them underneath. The reason why I'm saying all this stuff is when he dropped it off at Hawkeye Autobody, gave him the key, did what he had to do, I wasn't there, and he left. Well, Progressive, our insurance company, said the car has over $3,000 in damage to the front end, new grille, new bumper, stuff like that, underskirting and belly pans. And my wife asked him, well, mechanically, what did you guys find out? And he's like, oh, nothing. And then my wife's like, what? And then he's like, yeah, we just drove it in the shop and drove it out. And my wife's like, I think you need to see it mechanically. And the guy insisted. He said, no, it drove in there and drove out. So when they got off the phone, I told my wife to call Hawkeye and let's talk to Ryan. And Ryan told me the car will not start. So he had to push it in and push it out after doing the assessment on it. Well, yesterday, my son was at school, up at college, and on his break, he went to Hawkeye Autobody, talked to Ryan himself, and since Alan drove it for tens of thousands of miles, he knows that car better than I do inside and out. He got in it and he tried to start it, and he said it cranks over, but will not fire. And he asked Ryan, he's like, so it didn't drive since it got dropped off? And Ryan said, no, they've had to push it around, hand push it around, because it will not start. And he said, mechanically, I don't even know what's wrong with it. So he asked him where we wanted to take our car for the mechanic. We're just gonna bring it up to Hosmer Toyota up in Mason City. They do an excellent job. But long story short, I don't know what the tow truck company did. I don't know what Progressive are thinking. The communication between all these things is not right. Because Ryan insisted, and Alan, when he went up there, he said, yeah, it will not start. But as you guys can clearly see, while I was waiting for the tow truck, no dash lights, the car was running perfectly fine, a little loud and a little thumpy, but the car itself, it was a great car. I'm gonna do another video on a follow-up on this. So thanks again for watching, guys. You guys take care of yourself. Hello, my new subscribers. Hello, my old ones. It's been a long time since we've been on YouTube. I'll explain that in my next video. So thanks again for watching, guys. You guys take care. Bye-bye.